Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
Well, that weekend didn't go as we expected. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room. We're filled with lions. Are
you filled with lions, Michael?
I'm filled with lions. Oh my word, that is not. That sounds like some kind of suspicious drug. No. Anyway, Ollie, Berth, Chris, you're all here. What were your highlights from the weekend?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, of course.
Why
Yes,
not? If
I
you've
would.
got some.
I mean, I've got a few things. Obviously, I went to London, watched Hamilton, saw all the sights, and I got engaged.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Very nice.
So,
done,
I was. You know what? Me being my egotistical self, I was going to put myself as a winner today.
That is a win.
I haven't.
I'll put you as a winner, Berth.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I got engaged over the weekend, which is really nice. So that's my
congratulations to the future Mr. and Mrs. Berth.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Friend of the show. Show.
You know what? I'm going to actually tell my highlight because it wasn't Beach World Cup. I watched some of it and was like, yeah, okay. And then I remembered why I didn't watch it previous years. It's like, no, I don't. It's not for me. But my highlight of the weekend was I was watching some extended highlights. I was told to do this of Bundesliga Joy match between Hansa Rostock and Hamburg, and out of nowhere there were two remote control cars rolling onto the pitch. There were flares attached to them, and it was like a Fast and Furious sort of thing. And in 2024. If you're in the UK, you can't even sneak a bottle of Coca-Cola into a stadium without getting a full body pat down. And yet in Germany, someone's got RC cars to roll in. And it was like Rocket League. And honestly, watching the stewards trying to get the cars off the pitch was brilliant because there is no way to look dignified trying to chase a toy car. Oh my word. It was to protest. I don't know the exact, it was to protest something about changes in percent. I think it's something to do with the money that's coming in. I don't know exactly what.
It's all around like that 50+1 thing the Bundesliga tends to do.
I
don't know if Bundesliga Vi does it as well.
I should have really just Googled Bundesliga protests. New capital into football. There you go. So yeah, because the Bayern Bochum game got delayed by tennis balls, I think, was being thrown. Yeah.
Wow.
Chris, what was your highlight?
To be honest with you, I didn't really do anything over the weekend.
Wow, imagine my surprise.
I know, right?
We can't all get engaged every weekend.
No, it's
Yeah,
just
God.
so
We
much.
can.
What?
I'm joking.
Every weekend. That's I don't know what you're doing there. Every weekend.
You laugh, but to be fair, I'll let you into a little bit of a story. Going off on a tangent. Gemma does this thing now that she'll take the ring off and ask me to propose again. I just keep reenacting it. So it's, technically, I guess I'm getting engaged over and over again.
Oh, wow.
Either that or she's taking a few opportunities to maybe test the waters in case she wants to say no next time.
Expected engagement. The XE, the expected engagements is
was
very
really
high for Berth.
My highlight of the week is actually Chris's reaction to Berth getting engaged. He said he got carried away with our performance at the weekend.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, I saw family and I had a really nice time.
Oh my word. Right, we will hit some news. Oh, it's a double Manchester City game review. And first we're going to head to Kingsmeadow because there is a match report. Emma Hayes welcomed back top goal scorer Lauren James for a crucial match against Manchester City under the Friday night lights. We were aiming to extend our lead in the WSL, but unfortunately City, they struck first after capitalising on a turnover in our own half. It was a mistake of our own making, unfortunately, and Shaw found the net, solid goal. But despite Hampton's save from another sure attempt, we needed to regroup. And the game intensified with Ramirez's run into the box, but it was controversial, but no penalty was awarded. Many will say it was a penalty, many would include me. But we ramped up our attacks in the second half with Lauren James delivering a dangerous cross quite early on, but came to nothing. Emma Hayes did make some attacking subs, but City's defence held quite firm, as it has done all season. And despite close chances from Cuthbert and Kankovic, City's keeper was in fine form yet again and denied all the attempts, and it just sealed an absolute disappointing, heartbreaking result for the Chelsea team. Chelsea 0. Oh no, Man City 1. There's no denying the weight of significance that this first defeat at Kingsmeadow in 3 years will hold, especially against City. It's a team as well we haven't lost to since 2016. Oh my word. Chris, what were your thoughts on that?
It's a really poor performance all round. Looked disjointed. There just doesn't seem to be that flow in the team at the minute where players just know where each other are, like playing on instinct. It seems like everything's a thought process, and I think that's really slowing our attack down. We're struggling really to create lots of good goal scoring opportunities, and against a Man City team who defensively this season have been really, really strong.
Oh yeah,
we couldn't concede a goal. If we didn't want to lose the game, we couldn't concede, and we conceded a really sloppy goal. Really, really poor goal on the counter attack, and really after that we had a few chances, but only really one sort of massive clear cut chance that the keeper did well with. And this game, the thing that annoyed me the most about this game was the frustration I had with Lauren James, because I mean she just disappeared in the game. Like for a minute, I thought she'd been subbed off, because it was like 20 minutes and they hadn't said her name. Like, the thing with James is we know how good she is, but you can't pick and choose when you're good. You have to be good all the time. You can't, I know players aren't at their top level every game, but she seems to have these real dips where she's either a 10 or a 4, and she needs to find some relative consistency in, even if you're not going to be a 10 all the time, then be an 8, but don't drop to a 4. Because I just thought when you're looking for someone to do something in a tight game and you're looking at sort of talismanic players, she's the one that everyone was looking to, and she didn't do anything. That was the biggest disappointment from this game for me.
I mean, I got a few points. I mean, I thought benching Writing Canarid was one of the standout performances of this season. This is a crucial match. I was like, that's questionable. I mean, it would almost be if Poch had benched Palmer against City, or does it in the League Cup. You'd be like, I mean, I still don't understand, even on Monday night, I don't understand the move. I don't understand. I saw on social some thought Hayes might have wanted Lauren James on the right to provide width, but that's where Kirby was instead. And I mean, that's despite Kirby being better centrally. So, I mean, it just was ineffective. James being behind Ramirez. Just, I question. We don't often question Emma Hayes' decisions, but that left me a bit lost. It really did.
Well, she's built up the goodwill, hasn't she, for us to not really question it? Because she is she is like effectively. I hate when people say, "Well, she's the female Pep or whatever," but there's no other like allegory that you can compare her to, because she's so successful. Yeah. So she's kind of earned the goodwill for us not to question her decisions. But even at that stage, I thought it was a bit of a weird one. I wasn't that happy with is it Ramirez, the striker?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't get me wrong, I like her, but if you're coming in for a world record fee, you need to be performing. I get she's not the same kind of striker as Sam Kerr, but for me, I just needed to see a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we missed the physicality of Millie Bright. I mean, that was quite clear. Shaw had a top score for a reason, but, she had an easy game. And then, you don't want to make things easier for her, because she will punish you. And she did. And that's the frustrating thing, because we gave City the goal. It was a mistake in the middle that created the opportunity. But on that, without Hannah Hampton, we'd have lost by more than one because she pulled off some good saves. And it's one of them games for me. Man City earned that win, and it was a frustrating Chelsea performance. And it might be one of the poorest I've seen this season because it was a critical game. Yeah, I don't know how many games is the record to win the WSL and how many you've lost. I think it was 2, but we're both equal now with City on that. But I don't know, our form worries me a bit against the top teams because obviously we've lost to City now and drawn. We lost 4-1 to Arsenal. We still got to play Arsenal again. Yeah, that's a worry.
Yeah, it is the games against the top teams that are the concern. Like we was convincing against Man United at Stamford Bridge, but again, as good as a performance as that was a game where Lauren James really did turn up. So sometimes you put it down to, was it just one of them games where you had the individual brilliance to win you the game? I think my concern going in now for the rest of the season is we've been suspect at the back all season, and it looked like we tightened up. But if you look at handing that momentum to City, and with how good they've been defensively, and the fact that they've got someone up the other end who's going to score almost every game, they look a real force. And I think not losing that game was crucial to sort of stop any sort of momentum for them. But I'd say now that despite the fact that we're still top, I'd say that the title's in their hands. And that's the biggest concern for me, that we're going to be relying on them now to slip up less than we do.
Yeah, I've just double checked. No one has won the title with more than 2 losses. So that's the thing. I mean, one thing that should not be ignored is how outstanding City's keeper was. Because Kira Keaton?
Yeah.
I mean, this season, 5 successive clean sheets in all competitions for her. She's 19 years old, and this is her first full season as a starting keeper for him. So, I mean, for the England team, that's Mary Earps. She's probably going to be feeling a bit of pressure because, you've got Mary Earps, Hannah Hampton, and Kira Keaton. That's a good trio. It's a good squad depth there for England. So, beneficial for them. I mean, any thoughts before we move on, Berth?
It was just it's just a real disappointing performance, to be honest with you. Big game like that, you want to see a performance, and it just weren't there. It was just something that was just lacking. And Hampton did play quite well. I got to give her that. But other than that, everyone just was a bit just way off it. And against a real good City team, you can't afford to slip up and make mistakes like we did. So it's one of them. You got to go again. But if you play like that, you're gonna lose 9 out of 10 games each week. So
I do
needs
trust
to
us
be
to
a
bounce
real
back from it though.
Yeah, you like to think it would bounce back, but my God, it was way off where we want to be and where we should be.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that we've got a break till 3rd of March where we take on Leicester, and then straight away we've got Man City again for the semi-final. So that's a big game. So we'll see. But the other match report, sponsored by Good. Congratulations. If he believes that, that's good for his team. Man City won, Chelsea won. It was an unexpected result, and we have some serious winners. We do.
Have that, you bold fraud.
But I'm going to steal the first winner here, because this is going to become the hottest place in town, and it is. We know what that means. Oh yeah. That is the Stat Drop Club. The Stat Drop Club, because we have 3 names in that Stat Drop Club this weekend. We had Georgie Petrovic, who had 4 saves, 6 successful throws, 2 of 2 successful punches, 1 of 1 successful high claims, 7 recoveries, 7 of 18 long balls, 21 of 33 passes. We then have Malo Gusto, who had an 86% pass accuracy, 66 touches, 24 of 28 passes, 10 clearances, 9 duels won, 8 tackles, 1 of 9, 2 key passes and 2 big chances created. And finally, the personality man himself, the crowd surfing, Axel Disasi, who had 86 pass accuracy, 52 touches, 25 of 29 passes completed, 16 clearances, 4 of 4 aerial duels won, 3 blocks, and 2 long balls completed. What an absolute trio. They deserve to be in the Stat Drop Club. They deserve
16
to
clearances
party.
is absolutely ridiculous.
Outrageous.
Outstanding. They were absolutely outstanding. And I'm sure we've probably got at least 2 of those in our winners all equally.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, Chris, who's one of your winners? Because I've got a feeling we already know.
Well, I've got Axel Disasi.
Yeah, he's one of mine.
Me too, yeah.
Thought he was absolutely outstanding, like proper centre backs performance. And like for everything good he did in the game, the thing that was the best was when he flicked that header out for a corner and celebrated like he scored.
That was so good.
That for me, that shows someone a defender who's priding himself on defending. Like, and I think we said on here a couple of weeks ago that they needed to start taking more pride in clean sheets and trying to get clean sheets. And it looks like they've started to do that now. Like, I love seeing defenders celebrate defending because that is ultimately their main job. I don't like defenders who are happy to concede goals as long as they win. It's never sat right with me. But Disasi, I thought, I can't think of a single mistake he made. So, like, to go to the Etihad and have a faultless performance
against Haaland as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Haaland.
Yeah,
and I think, to be fair, we've all constantly supported Disasi on this pod.
Yeah.
Always defending him against the people online who was really harsh on him at times. Like we've said, he's had poor games, but
and he was playing out of position at times as well.
Yeah. But now you're seeing everyone. It's so weird because 2 weeks ago he needed to be dropped, and then he jumps into the crowd at Crystal Palace, and all of a sudden he's a cult hero.
One of us.
It shows how much people's opinion on players does change in like a matter of weeks, and that's the one thing that really annoys me more than anything, because it's like, just be a little bit more consistent. Don't judge players off one game, one good game or one bad game. Just judge them fairly.
Get whiplash from people online, honestly.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, why is he a winner for you, Berth?
For me, it's one of the best defensive performances I've seen in a long time. He genuinely reminded me of John Terry, the way he defended that near post and the way he cleared his clearances. He commanded I'm convinced he's the second coming of Rudiger. He's a little bit crazy. He is a little bit crazy, a little bit clumsy at times, but he is a unbelievable defender at times as well. And like Chris said, I think we've all said he's had a bad game here and there, but I think we've all backed him. We've all said he's not as bad as people are making out, and I think I totally agree with that. I think he's been a bit of a scapegoat unfairly. But he's been magnificent. I think his passing's very good. I think that's underrated. He's quick. He's strong. He is the ideal centre back for the Premier League. And I thought him and Colwill, to be fair, I'll give a shout out to Colwill. I thought they're both brilliant, and they defended for their lives. Every clearance, every tackle was celebrated, and it is what you want to see. You want to see a bit of passion from this team. You want to see a bit of intensity from this team, and he led by example on Saturday. So yeah, he has to be a winner for me.
I mean, the thing, my man Axel Disasi, I mean, he's the vibe setter in this team now. He's like that Rudiger replacement we spoke about. He's always lifting the spirit. And yes, folks have been way too hard on him, and that's my opinion. I mean, think about it. He's been played out of position numerous occasions, but he has been, if we look at it overall, one of the steadiest defenders this season. And he deserves more recognition for this effort, no doubt about it. And he did. He had Haaland in his pocket all bloody game. What didn't help Haaland, though, was every single cross that came in, he felt he had to volley it instead of actually take a touch or head it. I don't get it. I still don't understand it. I don't care. He was pocketed the whole game.
He was really, really good. I'm going to start calling him Axel Chopper Disasi at this rate, because it's just unbelievable performance. I genuinely think it is the definition of a monster class, wasn't it? Like, and I think and I'd be inclined to say that actually out of this whole season, on an individual level, it's the best performance of any player of ours this season.
Yeah.
And that can't be high enough praise for me, because I can't think of anyone who's had a better game than he did against City. Because sure, we rode our luck at times, and I think maybe he was caught out once, but it might have been Colwill. I can't remember, but he was absolutely everywhere, and he really did his job. Marshaled the back line really, really well, and it's just great to see it. Hope it continues.
Who's a winner for you then, Ollie?
So I've got a joint winner here, because I think that these two are only winners when you consider them together, and that's actually Enzo and Gallagher.
Ooh,
Nice.
I was noticing something in the game that I'm not sure many other people did notice. Both of them together, between them, Enzo and Gallagher, were shouting at everybody else, pointing at everyone else, pointing at them, telling them, you go there, because the organisation was spot on versus City. The whole team was really organised from start to finish, in my view, really. And Enzo and Gallagher were the ones who were really leading that by pointing at everyone and just getting literally leading from the middle and telling people where to be, because I don't know. And I was really encouraged, especially with all the slack people give both Enzo and Gallagher. It was nice to see them working together to actually have a really good game between them in the midfield. So that's winning for me.
Who's another winner for you, Ollie? Berth, even.
So we mentioned him a minute ago, but I'm going to go for Malo Gusto. This could be a hot take of all hot takes, but English right backs aside, I think Malo Gusto is the best right back in the league.
He's top 5.
Yeah, so take
No
all
doubt.
the English right backs out of the equation.
I agree, because ahead of him you'd put James, maybe Trent, maybe, and Walker, maybe.
Maybe
Trippier.
Maybe
of that,
Trippier.
Maybe Trippier as
maybe
well.
Trippier.
You could argue it, but I wouldn't.
But for me, this you take his age into consideration as well. New league,
which everyone seems to forget for some reason.
Yeah,
It's because he looks about 30.
That is true. The fee that we paid for him is looking more and more of a bargain by each week. I think he's the perfect modern day fullback. He bombs up and down. He's quick. His end product is fantastic. He's so good. He never stops running. And defensively, I actually think he's really underrated defensively, because I've never watched him and gone, oh no, he's out of position. I think there was one goal that we conceded against Arsenal where I thought, maybe at fault. But other than that, I think he's been flawless positionally and defensively. So for me, I think
Doku in his pocket all game as well.
Really, and that's the thing. Like Doku is arguably the best dribbler in the league. I mean, he keeps Jack Grealish out of the team. So to man mark him out of the game is no easy feat, and he did it pretty comfortably at the end of the day. I don't think Doku had a sniff all game. So for me, he had to be a winner, and he should have got an assist. Really, Jackson touched him down a bit, but. I think every time I watch Gusto, he's just getting better and better.
On Jeremy Docker, I've got something actually. A hot take? I don't know.
Is he on fraud watch, Mikey?
I think he's a bit overrated this season because the last time he registered a Premier League goal contribution was that game against Bournemouth when he got 4 assists and 1 goal. That was in November.
Yeah, that's bad, that is.
And
especially at a team like City.
Yeah, so I get everyone. I mean, pocketing him. Outstanding, not demeaning that, but everyone going, "Oh, Jeremy Doku, he's one of the best." He's not. He's got to turn it on sometime soon, other than Bournemouth.
We gave him a lot of respect, I think, in the way that we played up against him, because it was always one so Gusto was up against him, but we were doubling up on him as well, because we had Palmer was always there or thereabouts, as was Cassidy when he came on, and whoever else decided to fill in that right hand side as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Gusto, his ability to track back throughout the game and just clean up those balls, insane. I was so
and get forward as well. He's just he was just everywhere. He really was.
Yeah. That creativity was off the charts. I mean,
created more chances than De Bruyne.
The scouts, we do bash the scouts, but they've done an incredible job with this one. He's got the potential for me to outshine Reece James. He's just 20. Well,
this is the thing, right? When Reece James
made waves.
Come back in. When Reece James comes in, I don't think he's going to get straight back in the team, because this lad is outshining him at the minute. Yeah, he really is.
It was a mature performance, because if he'd have got a booking very early on, then he knows that You know, Doku's going to absolutely have that potential to think you're not going to put a tackle in because you're already on a yellow. And he was so calm, cool, and controlled.
And the thing is, as well, with
Mm.
Disasi and Gusto, this is what happens when you sign people for 30 odd million from France.
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
is so
Right now, Cristiano Ronaldo is disagreeing strongly with you and saying, no, not for me, that league. But we like it. We love that league. All the better. You know, Hazard, Disasi. So many future potential players will hopefully bring in as well.
I think another question is when James comes back, I think you don't take Gusto out of the team. I think you move him to left back.
No, that'd be like the Petrovic Sanchez debate. You can't do it.
But no, what I mean is maybe James does come back into the team, but I would take Chilwell out instead and play Gusto on the left hand side because he's played there a little bit. He's an Iron Man athlete when you think about it. You know, like playing both sides of the ball. Like I think our fullbacks, if they're Reece and Gusto, is much better than Gusto and Chilwell personally.
I can see where you're coming from.
The only issue with Gusto at left back would be one of his best assets is his crossing, and he can't do that from the left.
He'd have to cut back onto his right, wouldn't he? That's the only thing.
Yeah, and I've just double checked. I didn't want to be wrong. He's played one game at left back, and that was against Preston in the FA Cup.
But what a game!
What a game that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Preston. Yeah, let's get excited. Yeah.
Listen. We were talking about getting relegated last season. We could have been playing Preston every week.
This season is much better than last season, and I've seen people complain about no. This season is much better. Don't try and think.
That's true. By the way, don't believe it when people say Potter was better. By the way, he wasn't.
No, we had Southampton do the double over us. They were bottom of the league.
Yeah,
and they outplayed us. Remember,
can we just say, right, we still have to play Sheffield United, and I can just see us losing.
It's the most guaranteed loss of all time, isn't it?
No, I'm confident we'll win. I'm sticking my neck out on that. Right, who's got some win? I'm out of winners, but I'm sure you've still got some.
I've got one more.
I've got one more as well.
I've got three.
Go on, Chris. I'll give you your platform for all three.
Well, one's only quick anyway. Colwill. Berth mentioned him earlier.
Great game.
Yeah,
I think his performance went under the radar because of how good Disasi was, but I thought Colwill was excellent as well. Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, he was my last winner.
Who I actually think that was probably the best, taking into account the magnitude of the game and where it was and who it was against. I think that was probably the best centre forwards performance I've seen from a Chelsea striker.
It was a complete Chelsea
since I can even remember,
and I'm including the one-on-one miss.
As part because of that. The thing is, like, some people have still been slagging him off online about missing that chance, but look at the chances Haaland missed. Strikers miss chances. That's just part of the job, and I don't. And
you know what
was,
though.
It wasn't even a horrendous miss. I don't think.
I said about his touch. I actually think the ball was slightly behind him, which didn't help.
Gusto should have played it first time. He didn't need a touch. Gusto.
Yeah.
Gusto's first touch for that chance was really poor, and it made him do a poor pass as a result.
Yeah. But I thought Jackson was absolutely outstanding. His link-up play, his hold-up play, his closing down, energy, enthusiasm. Everything really about him. I just thought it was a really, really good centre forwards performance. All he needed was a goal to top it off. And my last one is Conor Gallagher, because I think again, people talk about him just running around, but I actually think tactically, from a tactical point of view, Gallagher was the main reason why we got a result.
Locked Rodri down for most of the game.
Yeah. The job he did on Rodri can't be understated because it really disrupted Man City's flow going forward because most of their play goes through Rodri. And the equalising goal comes because of Poch's sub of bringing Casadei on. He moved Gallagher away from Rodri and it actually cost us a goal. So I think if Poch hadn't have done that and he'd have kept Gallagher on Rodri for the whole game, I think we win. which I think
it's
shows how
also
important he was.
It's a bit of an unlucky goal to concede, in my view, as well, because of the way it bounced out to Rodri perfectly on the edge of the box.
Yeah,
Like, it's good
course,
positioning
yeah.
from him, obviously, as well. But you're right. If Gallagher's there, I think he probably gets there.
Yeah.
And it's an unlucky goal to concede. For
Right.
sure.
Who's your final winner, Berth?
To be fair, my last one was Nicholas Jackson. I thought it was class. The ball he plays to Sterling cannot be understated. It is a fantastic. The little flick to Gusto.
Yeah, the back heel in the build-up.
Then the perfectly weighted pass to Sterling is superb. And again, I think Nicholas Jackson's been another scapegoat this season when actually
100%.
his performances have been all right. They've been decent. He's got decent goals, decent assists, and his work rate's been fantastic. He's never been lazy. So I think, again, he's another player that will just get better and better. His confidence is growing, and he's got to be a bit patient with these players, I think.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Oh, we've got some losers. I've got two. Losers. How many have we got each?
I've got 3.
Oh.
I've got 2.
I've got 4.
Wow, Chris.
Oh, Chris, why do you always do this? We know it's always 3 and 3. You always have like 9. What's wrong with you?
You're allowed 3 or less. There's always who's go on. Who's your honourable?
Who's your
Your 58th loser, Chris?
Yeah,
One of them, to be fair, is going to be a hot take after the way that you started the show. To be honest.
Oh.
I've got Petrovic as a loser.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he looked really, really nervous the whole game.
I'm not happy about this.
Looked really unsteady with his passing, kicked a few out of play under no pressure. Did not look comfortable on set pieces at all with Man City crowding him. He flapped at least 3 where he just patted
made a very
down.
good save against Haaland, though.
Did make a really good save off the deflection. Yeah, fair play. But I just didn't. He didn't for a really big game. He didn't exude the confidence that he has every other week. I just thought this was the first time I've looked at him and thought the occasions got to him a little bit. The fact that he knew he was going to be under so much pressure, it can't be easy going into that as a goalkeeper. But I just thought from the first cross that came in that he flapped at, it was like, and he was always asking for fouls that weren't fouls, and it was very much like Kepa used to be. Like when the ball's coming in the box, you're thinking he might drop that, but
Thankfully, he's got longer arms than Kepa.
Yeah, it was just that. It was when he kept trying to play the ball out to the fullbacks as well, and he put them out of play like 3 times, and it was like, he's just not on it today. He doesn't seem confident.
Well, it's a good job he's in the Stat Drop Club because he can't hear you over the music. And that's what we
neither can any of our fucking listeners, Mikey.
Right, one of 2 losers I'm curious if any of you have got this one. Thiago Silva.
No.
Yes,
No.
I have.
Right.
No, I have. I have, yeah.
This game right here had me thinking. Thiago Silva, he's been a mainstay. He's been a consistent name on the team sheet. Maybe it's time for a change. Bell, you were right. And obviously his injuries helped. But, against Man City, I saw something that was different. I saw something that was refreshing. I saw 2 centre-backs that were making moves. They were making passes into that midfield. They were shaking the game up. And Enzo was right there. He was locked in. We had Gallagher. Pressing was on point. But we know that when Silva's out there, it's kind of like we play it a bit safe. We protect him instead of going for it, which we understand because of his pace and everything. But I kind of feel that we're at the point where we go, thank you for your service. But I think Poch has to make a big call and make the call to not start Silva again this season. Maybe as only a super impact sub.
I think that's a bit harsh to say not start him again all season. But I think, and I said it the other day, I think we've got to manage him better. And I think in these sorts of games, these high intensity games, I think we work better when we can get our up the pitch. And I think Disasi and Colwood or Badger Shield, whoever you want to put in there, get up the pitch quicker. And I think we play better when that happens against these big teams anyway. If Thiago Silva plays against Man City, we probably lose 2 or 3-0, I think, because we're trying to protect Thiago Silva. And I love the bloke. I think he's one of the best signs we've ever had. But that's the truth. I think if we're playing against the Sheffield United, I think Thiago Silva could start and we can play perfectly fine. But against Man
because we
City
got
or
the ball
against
for most of the game.
exactly, or we play against the Liverpool, say, I think we should start Colwill and Disasi or Colwill and Badiashile, whatever combination we do, because we can get up the pitch a bit quicker, we can press them better, and we can play with a higher intensity. That's why he's my loser anyway.
Yeah, I would test the waters here. Let's just say fully fit squad never happens, but fully fit squad against Liverpool in the League Cup final. Who's starting Thiago Silva?
Unless it's a back three, nobody.
Exactly.
No. Oh,
yeah.
But at the same time, I would say I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing Disasi and Colwill together that much this season. So
no, I don't think they've started together once, have they?
No.
Have
so
they?
Not as centre backs, I don't think.
They've come in, they've had a really good performance, but they have to follow it up. They could quite easily go into the next game and be dog shit because we've seen that before. So it's like
Disasi
it's one
said
of them
that actually.
You know, it's. I just think sometimes people do get carried away. Like, you know, players, you see a good centre back pairing, and everyone's like, "Oh, that should be it now for the rest of the season." But football changes very quickly, and one of them could go off form very quickly, and then we're calling for Thiago Silva again.
Right? Yeah. Who's a loser, Ollie?
People aren't going to like this one. Christopher Nkunku.
Yeah, he's on mine.
He didn't look great, did he?
I thought it was such a shame. Dreadful.
He was absolutely shocking. It's very clear he's not being utilised correctly because he's not a 9. If you're going to play him, you play him off the left or you play him behind the striker. Having him as the sole outlet just does not work. He doesn't have the height for it. He doesn't win enough headers for it. Jackson is more physical, and so you can sort of bounce the ball off him. He's almost like a wall striker with the way he can really play around, link the play so well. But Nkunku isn't like that. He's a lot more like a poacher who has the ability to do stuff sort of on the edge of the box and sort of in the D and stuff. And he just doesn't work as the outlet by himself. And the second he started to be the striker was when we lost all of the momentum in the game. And we didn't even have like even a smidge of a chance of scoring when he was the striker, because we just couldn't sustain any pressure and we couldn't keep the ball because we couldn't get it to him. It feels like he's being wasted there at the moment. And maybe it's the fact that he's coming back from injury and he's getting up to speed and, with his fitness, because he's still not played a full 90 for us. And I get that. That's fine. But my issue with it is how he's being played in the first place, because every time we've seen him up top, he's not been good enough.
He didn't look his best. And, it was kind of, I guess maybe because we're already in that let's defend the lead mode. So he kind of didn't get the chances that, he would have done in the first half. So
it's just difficult for me because it's almost like you would rather play Nkunku against the low block. So I almost don't really see the point of us bringing him on at all, especially at striker. I'll tell you what, I'll jump into my second loser because that makes sense, it segues. My second loser was the second half substitutions. I get why Poch did it, because he wanted a bit more height and he wanted to defend the lead. He went to 3 centre-backs. We brought Cassidy on, who's tall, and he won all his headers, so that worked. But I don't know, like I feel like we were hitting them so well on the counter and they're playing such a high line. Why wouldn't you at least chance having Mudryk there just for someone to play it over the top? Because he's going to beat anyone in a foot race. Or if you put him up against Walker, he probably beats him too. So, it just feels like Poch was more focused on trying to defend the lead. And I totally understand why he did that. But it invited so much pressure as a result. And I feel like if we still had an outlet to go ahead, like to go up the pitch, that would have just kept City like 5-10 yards a little bit further back, stop them pushing us as high like they did.
Yeah.
And I feel like someone like Mudryk with his pace there would have been a better choice than Nkunku. But it's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Chris, you've got a lot of losers.
He's got 60 to go through.
Yeah.
Nkunku, two of my last 3 tie in quite well to what Ollie was just saying. So I've got Nkunku. I agree with everything you just said, Ollie. The reason why he's a loser for me is he showed no enthusiasm for the game.
Yeah, he wasn't pressing much either, was he?
No, I didn't see him sprint. I didn't see him break out into a sprint once. He just jogged around. It's like he didn't want to be on. It's like he thought, oh, I can't be bothered with this today. And that's what disappointed me more. And I really rate Nkunku. But when you're coming on into that sort of game, you have to match the energy levels of the people you're replacing. And he didn't. Like it dropped off massively. There was no more pressing. There was no closing down. It just looked lackluster. Like he almost like he wasn't ready to play. And that's why he was a loser for me. And then I've got Poch on my list, which might seem a bit harsh because I think the way he set us up was perfect. First half was as good as you can get, I think, tactically against Man City. But second half, the substitutions was bizarre. And my concern that it showed again with Poch, very much like we had with Potter, and very much like we had with Lampard, is when you've got a manager who he's outside of the elite bracket. You know, even if people think Poch is even if people think but there's some people out there who think Poch is near it. So even if you think he's not in the elite bracket, and they don't think like elite managers. And I just think one of the things that's holding us back still is we have this real mentality problem of we don't seem to be acting like a big club. It was very much what like a West Ham would do at the Etihad. They went there, they nicked a goal on the counter in the first half, and second half they went, right, defend that, lads. And if we can get out with a draw, we're happy. Yeah. And I was just sat there watching the game, and when he took every single forward player we had off and just left Nkunku up there by himself, I thought,
what do you expect to happen?
Yeah, and then I just thought it as well. If this was Liverpool at the Etihad, 1-0 up at half time, 1-0 up on 70 minutes, would Jurgen Klopp take Salah, Diaz, and Nunes off and just leave Gakpo up front on his own? He wouldn't. He'd leave forward players on and think, well, we'll hurt them again. We'll wait for the one chance we get and we'll go and get a second and kill them. And I just think Poch has got to get out of this Spurs mentality of go into the Etihad and getting a draw is a great result. And it feels like a great result. And we all accept the point. But moving on to next season, we can't be in a position again where getting points at the Etihad are seen as a massive bonus. You know, Crystal Palace went and won there earlier in the season. So it's not like they're invincible at home. So as good a result as it is, I think Poch did bottle trying to get a win.
Do you think it cost us the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to not see it that way, isn't it?
I think because the difference is, I think Man City are the sort of team where they smell fear in a team, and I think as soon as he made them subs, they thought these are scared. These aren't confident of holding on to the result, so we'll just put them under as much pressure as we can. And I just think when you've got Sterling and that to still think about, they're going to leave people back still because they have to.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. It was almost like he gave them no choice but to attack.
Yeah.
That annoyed me.
My final loser, I'll go with mine. Match of the day. I personally haven't tuned in for an episode since Alan Hansen was on the sofa. So that'd be, well, cool. I'm not going to pretend I don't know because I do. I checked. It would be 2014, which is a whole decade ago, which I can't believe.
Wow.
But
I haven't watched Match of the Day since they started putting the highlights on YouTube, Sky Sports.
That's essentially,
you know what? Same, Ollie. Same, yeah. I've been the same.
But I heard some noise about the Liverpool segment.
There was annoyed me, you know.
There was some talking going on about their injury crisis over at Anfield. Now, look, I get it. Injuries suck, and they do. Ain't nobody denying that. But let me tell you, after what we've been through the past 2 seasons, it's kind of like, welcome to the club, buddy. You know, we've been dealing with like 10 players out on the regular. So while
it's
I do
that one meme, isn't it, where the guy with the noose around his neck looks at the other guy. First time.
Look, whilst I sympathise with any team dealing with a crisis like this, because it sucks, ain't nobody handing out sympathy cards here for them. Because mark my words, if Liverpool do come up short in that League Cup final, I already know
all we're going to hear.
The narrative's going to be Chelsea only won it because Liverpool had half their squad on the injury list. I'm bored. Yeah. I'm already bored of the narrative that could happen.
Yeah,
I'm fully with you, Mikey. It's so frustrating. And then you get Liverpool fans saying, "Well, you spent £1 billion," and it's like, yeah, but we still
Did
have the
we?
players out.
I mean, also, if you want to know, the synopsis for Sky Sports is Jurgen Klopp's farewell tour stops at Wembley for this season's
Oh
Carabao
God,
Cup final.
don't get me started. Don't get me started because I know
Greatest
exactly
hits
what's
tour.
going to happen. You'll never walk alone. We'll start being belted out around Wembley. Jurgen Klopp will
Yeah, they'll
start
play it over a
crying.
loudspeaker.
Yeah, you'll probably start crying. You'll probably cut to Jamie Carragher crying, and then saying
And then
he's the best
you'll
manager
hear
ever.
the Chelsea fans in voice sing Three Little Birds, and no one will remember what Liverpool were doing.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully.
But it
Oh,
is
yes.
it is annoying because then we say, "Oh, well, we've got players out too," and then Liverpool go, "Well, you spent £1 billion and our players are all good and yours are terrible." And it's like, well, which is it then? Like, are our players average, or do you need your full 11 to beat us?
Yeah.
Just frustrating, man.
Who's got some losers and who wants to share them?
Last
I've got
one
one more.
I've got one more as well. And it's Erling Haaland.
Yeah, absolutely dog shit, wasn't it?
Because he had an absolute disaster class. And and everyone triple captained him. I keep saying on Twitter, and he absolute fired a blank. Axel Disasi bullied him. Colwill bullied him, and that's what you get for looking like Tom from Tom and Jerry. So
Well,
yeah,
no, that's what you get for being so disrespectful to the establishment and being profligate.
that's what you get for being
Oh.
profligate. I still don't know what it means, but that's what you
It
get.
means
Erling
wasteful,
Haaland.
Oh.
I gathered. But
Right.
yeah, I thought he was terrible, so he's one of my losers.
Yeah, he had probably one of his worst games this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, round off your losers for us.
He's only got 8 more.
No, only one. Only one, Beth.
Go
Come on.
ahead.
Trevor Chalobah.
Interesting, yeah.
Did feel a bit sorry for him because not really the sort of place or time you want to be making your first appearance of the season. But looked
Looked like someone who
Rusty.
hadn't played in 7 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
Deflected the goal in. I think Petrovic has got a chance of saving it if he doesn't put his leg there. And it's it's one of them that goalkeepers hate defenders throwing a lazy leg at a shot.
Isn't it mad though that Rodri scored the exact same goal against us both times this season?
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
It's
And
almost
then-
like the City have patterns of play.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he was inches away from scoring a second own goal right at the end where he headed one inexplicably past his own post. And I just thought, yeah, I can maybe see why you weren't playing.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a little harsh, I think, just because he's been out for so long. But I do see your point, Chris.
What about you, Ollie? Who's your final losers?
Final loser for me is needless yellow cards. Just because we seem to, especially in this game, it just looked like we were hacking City players down left, right, and centre and getting just again a lack of discipline. And I felt like we really needed it. I was spending half the game going, someone's going to get a red here.
Yeah,
To be honest, I didn't. Well, you say Caicedo, but to be honest, I don't mind Caicedo getting a yellow, like because I understand his job is to put his boot in. So like occasionally it's gonna happen, or every game it's gonna happen more or less. I expect Caicedo to get a yellow. What I don't need is like Palmer, for example, to get put on like a needless foul when he's also defending the box, like against Doku, for example, really tricky winger. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness, like if you throw a leg out by mistake or something, you're going to get a pen or sent off or whatever. And it's just like, I think a lot of our players need to learn when to calm down a little bit. Just again, like it's been a theme all season, but it was especially prevalent. I saw just yellow cards, really annoying.
Right. Emojis. I went with the French flag because Malo Gusto and Axel Disasi. That is why.
I went for the arm flex, where it shows a bicep, because I felt like that's the strongest performance we've had physically and mentally all season.
Nice. Chris?
I'll go with the clapping emoji because it's one of the few times this season where I think this team actually deserved to be clapped off the pitch.
I'm surprised not got 2 or 3 emojis, to be honest, Chris.
Shots being fired early.
Someone is salty, aren't they?
Yes,
Honestly,
all
he gets
these
engaged and now
flavours.
he's giving it the big one.
All these flavours and he chose salty. Ollie, what about your emoji?
I'm just gonna go with like the bro fist emoji because yeah, I just thought it was a really, really solid performance, and that's what I wanted to do to all the players afterwards. You know, you can't
Excuse
celebrate
me?
too much because we
Sorry,
didn't win.
do you
What?
want to rephrase that?
Bloody hell!
Do you want to rephrase that, Ollie?
Do you know what? Yes, I will rephrase that. That's what we did to City's title hopes.
Whoa.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
On that, interesting. Line of the week. We had Petrovic, Gusto, Gallagher, and Thiago Silva. So I'm loving
Not bad.
That was
Not
a
bad.
good
Not bad.
trio.
Who said
and
Gusto?
weren't
Chris-
they?
Ollie, it might have been you, Ollie.
It might have
Yeah,
been
I think
me,
it was.
you know.
I think it was you, Ollie.
Yeah,
I think that counts as a win for me.
Listeners, go back to the previous episode and find out, and give us an extra play on the little thing. Give us
Lord
one
knows
more.
we don't want to listen to our own voices again.
No way. But we do want to listen to questions, and on Charisma's questions, we've got TB who's asked if the Premier League had an expansion draft and you could only protect 5 Chelsea players, who would they be? So, for those who don't know, expansion teams joining a league have a chance to select players from the already existing clubs to build their inaugural roster. But obviously, the existing clubs can protect a set number of players from selection. So, for this, who are the 5 players you would protect?
Gallagher.
He's on my list as well, yeah.
Yeah, he's on mine as well.
Gallagher,
Me too.
Gusto,
Same.
Cole Palmer,
Yeah, same.
Yeah. 3 of 3.
Nicholas Jackson,
Not on
Ain't
mine. No.
Oh, this is a tough one. And you know what? I want to go Enzo. That's controversial. I wanna go
Wow.
Enzo. Yeah,
Bloody
I'll go
hell.
Enzo.
That was just said to piss Chris off.
Chris is fuming.
My 5 were obviously Gusto, Palmer, Gallagher, and I've gone Disasi and Petrovic.
Nice.
Nice.
I think I'd go Gusto, Palmer, Gallagher, James, and Colwill.
Nice.
I'd rather have Gusto over James based on current form now. So I'm like,
Based on what I said earlier, I'm playing Gusto at left back.
that's
Apparently. So-
oh no.
That's fair.
What about you, Chris?
I'd have Palmer, Gallagher, Gusto, Disasi, recency bias, and
Same.
Nkunku, because I still think he'll be class.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
And Adam has asked, what is your favourite FIFA? Which, whilst you're thinking about that, on this topic, we did put a poll up on social media whether you, the listener, refer to EAFC 24 as EAFC or FIFA. And 94.6% of you said, I still say FIFA. So to the 5.4% of rebels out there, you bad.
Grow
you
up.
bad, very bad. Oh dear. Oh dear. I mean, mine's the FIFA World Cup 2010 edition because I love the tournament. The game was so much fun.
Got a great front cover, that game.
It's so good. I don't think that. I think it all went to DLC after that. I don't think there was another FIFA World Cup game. I don't think so.
No. I think in one of the later ones, I think it was FIFA. When was the last World Cup? The Qatar one.
2022.
Yeah, 22. They had like a World Cup mode, I think.
Oh, but that's
Yeah,
not
they
the
did.
game, is it?
Yeah, that's kind of DLC, isn't it? Kind of.
That's true. Yeah, I suppose so. It's
Oh,
content.
I'm looking. They had the World Cup rush. No, they couldn't have. They had Brazil. I'm looking. Just I want to be certain here and not just say it. FIFA 18. They had the Russia DLC. 2014. They actually had a World Cup game for 2014. There we go.
Yeah.
Ah,
Not
no one played it.
No,
Because
I
no
didn't
one
know-
played
Because they didn't make any more.
I didn't know it existed. What was your favourite FIFAs?
So
My
mine.
favorite. Oh no,
Carry
World
on,
Cup,
no,
go on,
no,
bro.
no, Ollie, you carry on. You carry on, Ollie.
I'm going to go with the one I've got the most time in, and that's FIFA 17.
That's good
I think
FIFA.
a lot of people will agree with me that the game, it played really, really fast, which I think a lot of people really liked. And yeah, it was. I always used to play career mode on there, and yeah, just have a fun old time.
Chris.
I think. Carry
Oh,
on, Chris.
go on.
No, that's right. I
No.
think my favourite one has to be. I've played FIFA all my life pretty much, but I think my favourite one where I grew up on was FIFA 03. I just thought it was the best.
Oh, I love that one.
My first
I'm
FIFA
saying
was
the same.
FIFA 04.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
saying the same.
Yes,
With Eggy
Chris.
David on the cover.
Yes,
Yes.
Chris. Well
Wow,
done, well
Roberto
done.
Carlos.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
That was a
definitely.
good game. That was
Ollie, was
good-
he even bored for that one? Was you?
my first FIFA was FIFA 04. The one I think it's had like Henri and a couple other players on the cover.
Mine was Road to the World
But
Cup
PS2.
98.
Road to
That
World
was
Cup
mine.
'98 is in contention as well, just because of the indoor football thing.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
electricity
Oh,
exist then, Burr?
Yeah.
Just about, Ollie. Just about.
For listeners, you should ask us for Friday's episode about our favourite soundtracks on FIFA. Just saying. But
Oh, that'd
we
be a
will
great
end.
question.
We will end the Monday show with a game of top trumps. They are, of course, Archie Thompson's top trumps. And this week's category is the 2023 Ballon d'Or. So I'm going to give you a player who made that 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or in 2023. You got to tell me if they got more or less votes than the previous player. And who should go first this week? I'll let you choose.
Burr.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But Berth's going to love this one. So
I don't know
we'll
why.
We'll go Berth, Chris, and then Ollie. Berth, you've got. We start with the winner was Messi. He had 462 votes. So you've got Harry Kane. Did he get more or less than the winner?
I think he got less.
He did. He got
just a guess. Just a guess.
He got
Good guess. Good guess.
458 less votes. He got 4. So Chris, you've got Salah.
That is funny though that somebody was like, no, not Messi.
No. so Chris, you've got Salah.
More.
You got 13. Ollie, Benzema.
More.
No, you got 6 less.
Oh, fair enough.
Less.
Wow.
Berth, you got Osman. More or less than 6.
Less.
What? Less than 6? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, surely
he got 20,
Benzema,
24.
Benzema got more. Okay. I thought Benzema
24.
got more than Osman.
I would have said more less as well, but
Chris,
Yeah,
you've got more or less than Victor Osman. You've got Julian Alvarez.
World Cup bias is going to come into this, isn't it?
Don't be silly. Never. No.
More.
who won it again?
Messi. Not won the World Cup, I mean. You'd be right. You got 28.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
What a
More
load
than
of
Harry
bollocks.
Kane. Why
What a
more
load of
than
bollocks
Harry
is
Kane?
this?
I will tell you the top 10 in
Why
a
are
bit.
we still doing it? Why are we still doing this award? It's absolutely meaningless.
Because we can all be like, oh, look, he did really well. Right. Ollie, you've got Lewandowski. More or less than 28.
Less.
Yeah, he got 12.
Yeah.
Berth, you got Bellingham.
Did they do the Ballon d'Or before he like kicked off with all
That's
his
what I
goals?
mean.
can't remember.
That's the
Knowing these votes, Bellingham probably got 1. And that was his mum.
No.
I'm gonna go less.
He got 5. It is less.
Okay,
You've
good.
got, Chris, you've got Luka Modric.
That's a tough one.
More or less than 5.
More.
He got 19. It is indeed. Ollie, you've got Andre Onana.
Okay, so he did get to the Champions League final. That might affect.
Yeah,
him.
but I'm sorry, if he's got more than Harry Kane, it's even worse. He's got no arms.
I'm gonna go with less because I want it to be less.
He got 2.
Good.
Thank God.
That's
Now,
the amount of arms he has that doesn't work.
7 players got less than Onana. And Berth, the final player is Bukayo Saka. Is he one of those
Did he get
players?
more than 2.
You know
Did
what? I can
he
see this
get-
being less. I can see this being less.
He got 1.
He got none.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
got 1.
Absolutely.
The
absurd.
players that got less votes than Onana were Joseph Guardiola, Jamal Musiala, Nicolo Barella, Randall Kolo Muani, Martin Odegaard, and Ruben Diaz.
That's set.
That
Every
yeah,
single
sorry.
player in that list is better than Onana.
I'll give you
Yeah.
your top 10. I'll give
And
you your
had a
top
better
10.
season.
You got the top 10 was Modric, Bernardo Silva, Victor Osimhen, Julian Alvarez, Vinicius Jr., Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and then Messi.
If I'm being real, this might sound like a bit of a hot take. I think Rodri potentially should have won it.
Yeah, he won the World Cup, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I listen. He won more trophies than lost games in
I
2022.
don't think that's the worst shout in the world. To be fair,
No, I agree.
I'm not saying he should have won it, but I don't think it's the worst shout in the world.
I would have voted for him. Let's put it that way.
Wow. You don't get a vote.
No, I do not. Apparently, Bellingham's mum does, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for listening to this episode, listeners. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on either Thursday or Friday. We never know. We never know. It's a surprise on your feed. You're like, oh, look, an episode. So till then, that's us signing off. You've been listening to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At the Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.